My name is Riley Hamilton,
And I'm Amy Scarlotta.
and this is Turtle Time Breaking News. Amy, did you just look at the news that just broke about 5 minutes ago?
I did. I saw it on Sandoval's Instagram, Tom Schwartz Instagram, and the Schwartz and Sandy's Instagram.
Whoa. And what we are talking about here, everyone, Little Turtle Cuties and Villa Rosa VIPs, is that Schwartz and Sandy's is officially closing per all of those accounts that Amy just mentioned. At the end of December, they all stated. So like right at the end of the year. Amy, when that popped up, when you saw that and you got that notification and you thought about Schwartz and Sandy's and you knew it was going to close, what did you think?
I mean, it's a shock, but not a surprise.
Yeah. Yes. That is exactly how I feel as well. It is shocking. I can't believe it. Like, I can believe it happened, but I never thought it would. For some reason, I was just like, Schwartz and Sandy's will always be a fixture in my life, or it's part of the Vanderpump Rules ethos. It seems like it's just been a part of the ethos for long enough to where I thought maybe it would always be permanent. But
well, once Pump closed, all bets were off. You can't rely on anything, because I really thought, if anything, Pump would be on that corner for eternity. But yeah, Villa Blanca down, Pump down, Schwartz and Sandy's down. It's tough out there.
yes, I always say this, but it seems hard to run a bar in a restaurant.
Terrible.
I mean, if Lisa Vanderpump and Ken, with all of their resources and wealth, can't keep Pump alive, then did Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz even stand a chance? Even with Greg's involvement. Do you remember Greg?
Yeah. And now I'm worried that Lisa's going to elbow them out of Tom Tom as well, and they'll have nothing.
Oh my God, that would be the final salt in the wound. If they started to spurn Tom Tom because of their hubris, they were like, go to where the action is, Schwartz and Sandy's. And Lisa was like, your names are actually a stain upon Tom Tom. So now I'm going to cut your guys' 5% of this too. Yeah. That would leave them completely in the lurch. Well, I want to say some of the factors that led to Schwartz and Sandy's, demise in a way. Because this wasn't just a normal bar. Right when it opened, 1 month later? First of all, it had many troubles getting open that we saw. But right when it came out, right when it opened to the public, there was the massive Scandival eruption that happened. And I feel like the association with Tom Sandoval that restaurant had kind of definitely put a damper on the spirit of the overall bar. It became sort of like people were treating it like a cesspool in a way.
Yeah, like you couldn't tell people you were there because you were like, I want to check it out, but people will think I'm supporting a monster.
Yeah, it's like, this is where Tom Sandoval has sex with Raquel.
It's also just like a horrible location. Like, it's a good neighborhood, but it's literally hidden from eye view. Like, you cannot see it with your eyes from any vantage point on the street.
Oh, I am less, I don't know things like that. I always thought because it's right around the corner from all of those hot spots that it was easy for me to know where to go. But you're saying curb appeal.
Yeah, like foot traffic. You don't ever see it. If you're driving down Franklin, you would never see it.
But that's one of the busiest intersections, or like, what's that called when two streets meet?
That's an intersection.
Yeah. Gelson's, that sandwich store. You
would
barely
never find it. Like, you would never like stumble upon it.
I think I stumble upon things a little more. I would, if I was in that area all the time.
Explorer.
If I was at UCB watching one of those funny like a show at UCB, and I looked, I walked for just a second, I think I would see Schwartz and Sandy's. But I guess you're right, it was tucked away a little bit.
Which like could be cool, but I think they needed for people to be able to find it sooner.
Right. Right. Okay, so it had a little bit of a stain upon it that it could not overcome. But also, you have to factor in, I want to just say, the Greg factor. We almost forget about it, but Greg and Tom Sandoval seemed like they were butting heads behind the scenes a lot. I forget, but people would film Greg live when they would go to Schwartz and Sandy's, and he'd be like, I hate, that piece of shit, Tom Sandoval.
Yeah.
He sucks. They're both horrible. He was famously, he was like a pain in the ass type guy. And we even had people come up to us at one of our watch parties, and they were like, Greg is a monster. He really sucks.
Yeah.
So that was already a bad dynamic as well. Greg was treating them like a couple of goofballs. Then the final indignity and the worst outcome for them is that they thought that Schwartz and Sandy's journey would be able to blossom on Vanderpump Rules season 11. And when Greg or the business partners had power to deny them of that, Schwartz and Sandy's became non-existent in the Vanderpump Rules universe. It wasn't a fixture anymore, and you could say that people might even forget that this was a hub of reality TV activity. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you were saying earlier when we were talking that you went there 4 times. I probably went there a similar number of times, and this is literally our bread and butter, and we still didn't go there.
Yes.
And it was like almost borderline walking distance from where I lived for like a year.
And you and I were very honest when we went. So, I consider that the Schwartz aspect of Schwartz and Sandy's, even though originally he was sort of tainted with the Sandoval brunch or painted with the Sandoval brush as well, he's still, you kind of rooted for Schwartz that he was putting his heart into this thing, and he felt so bad that his dream had been hampered by his association with Tom Sandoval. So you were kind of rooting for it in a way, but when we went there for the first couple of times, you and I were very honest that it was nowhere near what we envisioned what Sandoval and Schwartz's restaurant dream or bar dream would be.
What we were promised,
which was like we were promised a dive bar with Coors Lights and antlers on the wall, or like a deer with antlers on the wall, race cars hanging from the ceiling, just like the aesthetics of a different type of bar. And instead, we got a mini Lisa Vanderpump type establishment where the cocktails were $25 or in the range of $18 to $27. The food was in the $30 range, and they had those gigantic, huge booths that made you have to sit with a group in this confined space, and you weren't able to really run around and have freedom and a freewheeling atmosphere. It was like kind of what's that like vibe? You felt kind of claustrophobic almost in a way, and relegated to tables where you had to spend like $1,000 to be there for the entire night. So that was, in my opinion, that was a huge, that was a major downfall in terms of the aesthetic of that bar for me personally. It wasn't. I felt like their vision got co-opted by their partners and Greg.
Yeah, for sure. I never felt, you really only went there. I guess this is true with all of those restaurants, though. You really only go to hope that you'll see somebody. Because otherwise, why would you go to Sir or Tom Tom or Pump?
Yeah. Yeah, you would have hoped that this would be the one that had the aesthetic that would make people come despite the reality TV association. It could have just been a good bar on its own, but they really relied on that, and they started to rely on it more and more. Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz were going there every single night, and I was worried. I was worried about the Mario Kart nights. I was like, you can just play Mario Kart in the lobby, in that waiting area of Schwartz and Sandy's, and like he was there giving out free shots. I was like, he was putting his all in it to the place where I was like, oh, I think they're hurting business-wise.
Katie's going to say something mean on her podcast?
I don't think so. That would be too much of a stick in the eye. Or what's it called when you really hurt someone where it counts?
Stab in the back?
That would be too much of a stab in the back, and I don't think Schadenfreude. Well, Katie's exhibited Schadenfreude in the past, but I think that this would be one thing where she knows it's going to hurt Schwartz's heart. And they probably lost. I don't know if they lost money. I don't know if you're protected, but Yeah, I don't know. This was financially a boondoggle for them.
Yeah, I doubt they ever were in the green at any point.
Yeah. And then I want to say one of my favorite memories of Schwartz and Sandy's. I went with my friend Spencer, and he asked Tom Sandoval if he had ever seen Avatar Way of Water. And Tom Sandoval said, yeah, but he didn't really have any strong opinions about it whatsoever. But I thought that was a really meaningful encounter.
Yeah. Schwartz gave me the hat off his head there. I have that still.
That's a beautiful memory, much better than my Avatar story.
He was nice, as always.
Schwartz.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is the end of that chapter of their lives. This, again, we are witnessing Vanderpump Rules history being made without cameras present. Think about the things we've missed now in this off season. We've seen relationships blossom that we're never going to see. We saw all this other shit, and then now Schwartz and Sandy's ending, and there's no cameras even to witness it. So that's unfortunate as well.
Yeah. These were the best days of our lives, and sadly, no more.
Yep. I'll try to put a slowed down version of that theme song to make it seem sad. Okay, well, anything else to say about goodbye to Schwartz and Sandy's? You had good memories there. The hat, you said.
Yeah, also it was the only one that was anywhere near my neighborhood. So it was the easiest one if you did want to go. But again, we never really did. But I was tentatively planning on going next weekend already.
You were?
Because my sister's friend is going to be in town who's a Vanderpumper or like a Bravo head. And I was like, you're most likely to see cast at that one. Like the other ones are dead. They don't go there anymore. So maybe I will now.
Oh, good. Okay, so you might get to see Schwartz and Sandy's in its final month.
Did you see that they're like, if you have one last chance to do your corporate or holiday party at the bar, like they're trying to get those deals done. And Schwartz was like, or even a funeral for your lizard, parentheses, rip dog. And I'm like, don't joke about that.
Yeah, I don't like humor like that. I can't believe he says that stuff. I also noticed Tom Sandoval's statement is so much more clinical, withdrawn than Schwartz's. Schwartz's has all of that heart. He's like, I'm drinking a cold Coors Light. This is too sad for me to even process. And then Tom Sandoval has the PR written statement. I feel like Tom Sandoval lost his attachment to Schwartz and Sandy's after Scandoval. He knew he had ruined it. And so he always felt like Schwartz and Sandy's was no longer his in a way.
Yeah. And he also, I noticed he signed off Sandoval.
Well, we call him Sandoval, right?
I guess, but is that how he wants to be known?
I don't know. I find that odd as well. I think he forgot to put Tom on the front of it.
I also liked his comment that he said, the allure of being associated with reality TV has hidden what is an amazing spot and location for LA locals as well.
That's kind of what we're talking about. The reverse of the allure, the damper of reality TV has caused an association about this establishment that he doesn't think it deserves. It should have stood on its own. But yeah. It was always a little bit of a not the right vibe for that part of town. It was a little bit too much of the West Hollywood atmosphere in Los Feliz, which has a more casual, they shouldn't have made their cocktails so expensive.
Yeah, and they weren't even good. So then I would get wine instead, and then I'd be like, why am I here?
Yeah, and for the first couple months, they had Mama's Yellow Pilsner, which is my favorite beer in the world, and eventually they took that out because they only wanted to have really, really shitty beers so that everybody would be enticed to drink expensive cocktails. It was the worst case scenario.
Yeah. So I don't know what the hell they're going to be up to these days. Also, there are a million comments saying, how will this affect Sheena? People really always think they eat when they say that.
Oh, we got in that, I think. Well, if you all still do it in your little turtle cuties, you can still do it. But
yeah, I'm trying to see what the sentiment is in the comments. They're definitely bitchy, but not as horrifying as they would have been at another time, I think.
that kind of that expresses, I think, the sentiment that most people have about Schwartz and Sandy's in general. It had a little bit of a stigma against it, but a lot of people were maybe ready to see past it if they could, but it never was able to get over the hump.
Yeah. Well.
Okay. All right. Well, we talk about TurtleCon a lot. And it's quite possible that, in December, that's where we'll host TurtleCon to say goodbye. So stay tuned for that, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I need to call out one last thing. There's a lot of comments saying, like, it wasn't worth the end of your marriage. One of the top comments says, I can just hear Katie saying to you, was it worth it? And I'm like, you guys, we are covering their wedding episode on Patreon this week. And I'm like, their relationship was cursed since the day they got together. Schwartz and Sandy's did not end their marriage.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. But it's, it's an easy scapegoat or thing to point to. But no, yeah, their marriage would have had trouble no matter what, even without Schwartz and Sandy's, for sure. But anyway, all right. Well, that's the end of Schwartz and Sandy's. We were recording anyway, so Amy and I wanted to provide this breaking news update. Share your favorite memories of Schwartz and Sandy's or how you feel if you'd like to. But I think exactly what you said at the start. I am shocked, but I'm not surprised that this era has ended. Goodbye to, Schwartz and Sandy's. That's a bummer for them for sure.
Yeah. Cue Like a Balloon.
Oh yeah. That's the perfect song. All right. We're going to play Like a Balloon now.